In this recording, I'm going to touch a very sensitive topic to thousands of people here in Canada, and it's about the murdered and missing indigenous women and girls. And it's not only the indigenous woman or the First Nation woman, but also it affects many other women who get into life trouble because of the way they act, the way they give false signals to men, or just because they are women and they are easy target for some jerks. And it's a beautiful day outside, and I'm going to use my skill and my talent to help volunteering group. So I will put some volunteering hours, and it's something that I enjoy. And this good weather helps me to motivates me to get out of the house and do something outdoors. So after this volunteering hours or volunteering activity, I'm going for a hike near the ocean, and I might record some thoughts at the time. And about the couple of reasons these girls or women get into life trouble. There are a number of reasons, but the main reason is that they are female and they appear powerless, and they are into a time and space where a combination of factors gives some jerks the reason to use them or see this woman as potential victims. And what happens, these remote communities, the First Nations communities in the remote villages, remote areas, don't have a way of transportation, like an organized way of transportation. So what I'm saying now, they are known facts. You can hear those on the media, or you read in the news and the internet, but they don't really explain, they don't really connect the dots to explain the audience how this woman get into trouble. They just present the fact and maybe some hypothesis, like what maybe went wrong, or why this woman disappeared, where she could be, where we can find her body, or if they assume that it was a victim of a killing or a serial killer or something like that. What happened, why, and they don't really present information because they don't really have the information. They don't have the information to tell the public, this happened, and if you do this could happen to you. So they don't have a clear story because they haven't caught the criminal. So after so many years, people are still looking for answers. They don't have an answer. So if you don't have an answer, you don't have a story, a detailed story, what happened, then it's very difficult to prevent other occurrences. But I'll describe the guy's thinking. So I'm going to put myself into a woman's shoes and into a man's shoes, and I'm going to think like I'm an aggressor. I'm a horny guy driving around a remote area, and I'm going to express my thoughts being an aggressor, and I'm going to express some thoughts being a woman. And I'll tell you, I'm not a psychologist, but I have the ability to switch my mindset to one way of thinking, another way of thinking, and I can I can translate my brain and my reality into someone else's reality. I've done that since I was a kid, and I can even think that I'm not a human. I can disconnect from being a human, and I can think that I'm an extraterrestrial creature. I never seen humans. I never seen what's going on, what's on this planet, and I'm trying to study the humans next to me. So I can totally disconnect from my previous memories. So I have that ability to cut off the circuitry between my memory and my analytical part of the mind, my prefrontal cortex. I can shut off that memory path. So when I process the information that comes from my eyes, it will not go to compare to what's already in my memory. So you can train yourself to do that. The world might appear stranger to you. You might end up getting mentally ill, so it's not for everyone. And of course, people are not interested to do stupid stuff. They're not interested to alter the reality for the sake of an experiment, because what's the outcome? People do things in search for an outcome. Even those killers who do kill, they are looking for an emotion, and most of the time the emotion is feeling of being in control, of being powerful or significant. And since they don't get that feeling in their real world, they need to find a puppet. They need to find a weak person that they can control. If they don't have kids, so if they don't have pets or animals around, they can control those creatures because they don't have things available. And when they feel in control of other people like them, they feel the power. Why? Because the human mind is built to feel power, or feel that they are more significant, more power when they overpower creatures similar to them. So if I overpower a dog, I only think that I am powerful because I know the dogs are aggressive, can be nasty, can hurt you. So if I overpower a dog, then it gives me some sort of a feel I'm powerful, but it's not good enough. But when I overpower a bear, which could be bigger than myself, and if I know that bear can kill people, then the feel of self-satisfaction and the feel of power is greater. If I overpower or kill a grizzly or a lion, especially when the lions are treated like kings of the jungle, that gives me that even greater sense of power. So now you got the psychology of those hunters who kill for pleasure, for power. When you kill a human being, now the thing is, killing a human being is, of course, it's a crime. It's a crime against humanity, against the society, against a human being. But since it's such a significant act, makes that person feel that, you know, they did something that not many people can do. I mean, it's easy to kill people, but most people won't do it because it's forbidden thing. It's illegal, yes. Otherwise, many people would unleash their rage and stuff, and they start killing people like they used to do in the past. So you have a person, and you have this combination of ideas or concepts in your mind, you know. If I kill a human being, I feel powerful, because no, it's not common thing to do, especially in these societies, in Western societies. When you look at those people being part of gangs or being part of some military group or paramilitary group, you know, they kill, and okay, it loses the significance. It's losing the amount of importance, those people, because if you start looking at those who do the one killing and that's it, it's so important even in their lives. They feel internal pressure. And that's why lots of those end up confessing, because they can't take that pressure to keep carrying the pressure around of doing something so powerful, important, whatever, depends on the feeling, the emotions they associate with it. But once they start doing it more often, like those professional killers or mentally ill people or serial killers or those who kill for money, you know, it loses the importance, the significance of the event, because they've done it and they are not sensitive anymore to the killing. So the more often they do, the less significant the act it is, and becomes something mundane, like you know what, I killed someone is like I went shopping at Costco, which in my case I don't go very often. And it disconnects the person from disconnects the victim from being a person. And so that's one of the, let me check the intersection, because while I'm recording I'm driving as well. So now that was the human side of the victim, of the woman who get murdered. But there are lots of cases when a guy who is not a serial killer, he is just a jerk with no human deep emotions. He is just a jerk who probably had a tough childhood, a jerk who was not taught about love. So love for those guys is not a powerful emotion that they would love to share. And when love is not an emotion, does not have an importance, you treat love like okay, this is just a feeling. If I get loved is okay, if I don't is okay. If I get a woman as a life partner, is mostly for sex, so it's not really to seek the emotion of love, because since it's not a powerful emotion that doesn't give them any type of pleasure they are looking for, people are built to seek pleasure, and they are going to look for a replacement. And if they find a replacement, let's say playing a game, playing poker or gambling or drinking, if those emotions are more powerful than the love, of course they are going to seek those emotions. And finding love, but not really sexual love, finding love of a child, of another person, of a pet or something like that, is not something something really important in their agenda. So they can find a replacement at any time. Let's say watching porn, watching some sort of a movie genre, listening to certain type of music, you know, and they get that emotion because, like I said, they were not taught the love equals this emotion. So love, it's a feeling that can be taught. And people think, oh, you know what, love comes something from inside of your mind when no people learn that emotion of love. So these guys had a bad childhood, or they did not have parents or loving parents, especially if you look at those guys living in poverty when the parents are not around, or parents are drunk most of the time. They are fighting, arguing, so they don't teach the love to their kids. So kids learn by copying stuff. If they see their parents loving each other, and if they realize what's the feeling of love, then they learn that's the love. That's the way I'm supposed to do in order to get that feeling, right? So it's not only, let's say, if the parents love each other and the kids observe that, but the kids are not taught, then the kids would have to experiment when they are growing up as an adult. But because people, when they love, they want to share. So adults love each other, and of course they want to share the love, so that's why they love each other. But also when they have so much love, and they know, you know what, yeah, I gave my love to my partner, and I have extra for the kids. Some partners, some people do share the love with their kids, and it's not enough to give to their life partners. So you see this type of combination, this type of families, like a wife is loving her kids, but since she is tired all the times, or she has a demanding job, or she is cooking and she's doing chores, you know, she does not have enough love for the husband. Or the other way, the husband has a son, and they go hunting, they go fishing, they go together, he loves the son, but he has a demanding job, or maybe he doesn't have that much of a powerful love to have extra for the wife, especially when the wife does not respond. So if the wife does not respond the way the husband wants, there is not enough love to share. So the amount of love or the emotion that guy has for his son is just enough between the two. So, but like I said, there are parents who have hardship, they live in poverty, they have nasty jobs, and when you have a nasty job, you have pressure from workplace, you have a nasty manager, you have jerks around. So I've been into companies, like doing some work in companies where people treat each other like shit. The manager treats workers like shit. You see people yelling at each other because they learn that from the manager, they learn that from the childhood, and of course these managers would pick certain type of employees, and not everyone fit every type of workplace, right? And I don't know how long this camera is going to record, depends on the settings. Even I have lots of memory in this card, but I'll keep talking, see when the camera stops. It doesn't mean I run out of thoughts, it's just I run out of memory space or something like that. Or maybe sometimes the camera it's splitting my recordings into 2 or 3 if I talk too long for too much. So now you have these guys who don't have the feeling of love, or how to love, and when they see a woman they still think of sexual urges. And so there are a couple of types of killers. So killers who kill for power, and killers who kill by accident. And I can say that in this case of the over 1,000 missing and murdered women and girls, it was a serial killer, because it would be too much for one killer to kill. That means like once a week or once a month, this guy is going out and is killing a woman. But these occurrences are not that often. So the killings happened. They were spread out over the space, like a distance-wise, and over time. And let's say if it was a killing yesterday and one a month ago, people would be on high alert. So this woman would get the news, because almost every community, First Nation community, is sort of connected to the internet and to the news, to the media. And those women, you know, they would be worried, you know what, yeah, a stranger, I'm not going to grab a ride to go to see some friends into different town, because just a month ago there was someone who got killed, right? So a woman would be in high alert, like in a jungle when a lion comes around, all the other animals, especially the herbivores, they are in high alert. And also they alert each other, so women share stories more often than the guys. And that's the way the woman group stay together and defend themselves better from this type of predators. It's a genetically thing. It's engraved into their firmware from a long time ago, when the guys were walking around and were raping women, killing kids, and doing stupid stuff. And now, if I want to focus on those guys who are killing women by accident, let's say not serial killers. Serial killers would not only kill women, would kill guys as well. And since there are not so many cases of missing guys, missing men, and if some guys is going missing, the first thing they look if that guy was homosexual, because that's kind of a commonality. The people who are gay, like gay people, they get into fights, they get into emotions, jealousy, because guys, you know, they are hornier more often than the woman. And even they have a partner, because their body tells them, you know what, I need a sexual encounter, I need to release, I need to have sex now. And if they are away from their partner, their gay partner, they are tempted more often to have an encounter, sexual encounter, than the woman. So I might be totally wrong. I don't know. It's kind of difficult for me because I have some blockages regarding a gay topic. So I don't think I'm having easy time to convert my mind to think like the gay man. So I don't know. Maybe it would take some effort. But in any case, so guys who are gay are more easily targeted, or they get into a situation when they get killed more easy. Why? Because they get into fights over because of jealousy or similar stuff, and guys use the physical power. It's not like a killing using some sort of a weapon or something like you see in gangster targeted people when they get shot or something. No, generally they get killed by a knife or some stupid stuff. And it's like fighting with a boyfriend or a temporary boyfriend over some sort of other guy, and they grab whatever they can. So most of these killings in a gay community happen using some sort of available tool at their disposal, like a knife or a vase or something, or fist fighting, beating that guy until the guy is dead. So those are rare, and they are on the media all the times. But I'm talking about the woman. So the serial killers are not really, in my opinion, are not really the number one reason for those missing and murdered women and girls. If there is a serial killer, it might be one of those having a fetish for woman killing. So he had a brain switch that gives him a pleasure killing a woman, like playing with a toy, like the cats do, or the hunters, those carnivores hunters animals do. They play with a victim and then they kill. So they actually play because they get pleasure. So they will not get enough pleasure just by killing. Like, okay, I found a woman, stop my car, stop my truck, grab the woman, kill her, dump her into it, because the pleasure is too short of a duration, and then it's too much work to dispose the body. And they put in a balance. You know what? How much pleasure I get from killing a woman, and how much pain or mess or discomfort I have to go through when disposing the body, and it's not worth it. It's like gambling. If you gamble just for pleasure, but you lose all the time, you rethink. I mean, there are sick people who gamble for a burst of pleasure, even they lose a lot, so that's sickness. And talking about this guy, the serial killers are, unless they are really mentally sick, messed up, if these killers, they know what they do, they might, and if they are focused on women, they might do that, take the woman, play with the woman, keep her locked somewhere so they have a long duration of pleasure, and then kill her because either they got bored, either her body is not functioning anymore, so they want to replace it, or they found another toy. They found another one on their travels somewhere. They thought, you know what, this is a better toy, I got a new toy. And where this mentality comes from, those kids who want new all the time. But it is not all those kids end up being serial killers or killing women, yes? But there is a combination, it's a trait, it's a switch that is set already in the mind, it's engraved there, and if they have one killing, another killing, what they do, they just reinforce that in memory. They know, that killing or that playing with that victim will give me that emotion, and by doing it's like a practicing that emotion, and they reinforce those neuronal connection between the memory and the center that triggers the dopamine levels and the action. And let's say if that guy is not a serial killer, is just some guys, could be 1,000 guys, different people doing the same thing. Like look at the cops, they it's one of the people in the truck, looks like a volunteer, or maybe it's a neighbor who complained that the people here drive too fast. So I drove here 2 days ago, and I did maybe 60 something because it was night. But sometimes people do, and I drove like almost 70 kilometers an hour, but I can't drive too fast. I can't drive too fast because there are so many potholes and so much uneven areas of the road. Yeah, but most likely someone complained that this is a road where people drive too fast, and there are lots of farm equipment on the road. And yeah, so going back to this topic, these people who are not serial killer but they could be just rapists, could be, I mean, not just rapists, but could be rapists, could be guys who are horny all the times and they can't control their emotions. And I need to look at the cars that are stopped, because even I'm driving 59 kilometers an hour. I don't want to get stopped and get a ticket here. Yeah, so what happens, and I mentioned into a different recording, women give wrong signal to the guys. So now you have a woman who need to catch a ride, so she wants to travel from her village to another village for different reasons. So I gave rides to guys, so I don't take hitchhiker woman in my car. I don't know, maybe I would give a ride to a First Nation woman, but no, I rather not, because I don't want to deal with a person who is afraid of me and have a fear all the time. So when I talk to someone, if I sense someone is afraid of me, I stop talking to that person. I don't take the elevator with a woman who is by herself. I had that experience in Romania, where taking the elevator with a woman, I see the woman protecting their purse, and I felt so, not embarrassed, but I felt awkward to see that a woman next to me in the elevator treat me like I'm a thief, or I'm some potential thief. Maybe because many times I don't shave or something, but it's engraved in their behavior, because in that country many people do stupid stuff. And I got my wallet stolen in a market, and I know. So now you have a purse, and actually I had a purse. I was carrying my wife's purse. She was on one side of the bus with her friends, and I was in the middle of the bus, at the middle door, and I was surrounded by gypsies, and they were pushing me around. Like it was crowded, but if you watch this one from Canada, if you are in Canada or in the United States, you may not imagine a crowded bus, because these buses are not that crowded in these countries. But those days in 90s and before, the buses were very crowded, people were stinking, and in Bucharest, like a Romanian capital, lots of gypsy gangs were walking around, robbing people and doing stuff. And I was in the middle of the bus, like a middle door, and it was crowded, but I felt that people around me were pushing me with intent, like a simulated that, oh yeah, there is a bus in motion, and they can control them, their body movements or something, like, oh yeah, sorry, I did not held myself to the holding bars or whatever. And so they were bumping me from all sides, to distract my brain from my wife's purse. And I got the intent. I got what they wanted. I realized that. And I had my hands at the bottom of the purse, because I knew one of the technique was them to cut the purse at the bottom and empty the content into a bag. That were one of the, so a hand was coming, even this is not a related topic, but a hand was coming between the other gypsy guys. So one gypsy was one person or two people away, and he was squeezed his hands between the other two gypsies that were flanking me, were right beside me, and that guy hands with a very sharp blade but cutting the purse at the bottom, as was emptying the content into a bag. So I sensed a set of hands, because I sensed the purse was kind of changing the shape and the weight. So the purse was hanging around my neck and was hanging down around my belly button. And I sensed the change of the weight of the purse, and I knew. So I grabbed one hand and I pulled the hand, and I saw the hand comes from between the two gypsy guys, and I started arguing, and I threatened those guys, and they threatened me back, and then they got out. I said, you know what, let's get out of at the first stop, and we'll have a fight or something. And I did not have that intention, because they had knives on them and those, but I let them get out, and once the bus doors closed, and I stayed in the bus. But I'm saying I describe this event because there are people who are not only jerks but very, very aggressive, and they would not refrain themselves from harming others. And so you have these jerks who see a woman taking trying to get a ride from one community to another community, and I went around because I said that I would not give a ride to a woman, because I sense that they are not maybe they take a ride just because they need, so otherwise they would never take a ride with a stranger, especially with a guy. If they see a couple, yes, they may get that right. But let's say if it's pissing rain, dumping snow, it's cold outside, and you're shivering there in the cold, and your only hope is the first ride, and you wait an hour, nobody is driving that stretch of the road. It's not a busy highway, it's just a remote countryside road, and you are hoping, regardless who's coming, a dog, if I can get a dog ride, I would take the dog ride. And so I'm going to stop in front of that gate, and while I'm recording, I still have a couple of minutes, I'll watch the airplanes taking off, and because I don't know if I want to record while I'm on inside the airport. Yeah, there is a little guy who just landed, no, I think he's going for yeah, he's just stopped the engine, he's going for something. There is another one who is not taking off, he just landed. Yeah, he just landed, he's slowing down now. And yeah, it's a lot of movement, aircraft movement these days, because it's sunny. Yesterday was not as sunny, so people kind of saved the gas and the engine hours and maintenance fees. And I'm going my way because I have a plan today. So these guys who are just by themselves in the truck, and especially when they drive long ways, 1,000, 2,000 kilometers for a couple of days, their body have urges, and they listen to the urges. And now they see a woman desperate to get a ride, and they think, oh yeah, I want to be close to the woman. Not all the time have a sexual encounter, because there's lots of these truck drivers, when they stop at truck stops, like a common truck stops, like some restaurants in the countryside, in places where the truckers have a place to park and sleep in the car. Sometimes at the rest stops, you could see prostitutes, those sex workers, trying to make a living, because these truck stops are into remote communities where there is no work, and this woman, maybe they don't have the means, but they know, what, all my life and stuff is here, and they don't want to move to the big city and do some work, so they rather make some cash selling their body. And there are a lot of guys who are willing to pay for a nice body. And I stopped at the truck stop because to get some gas or whatever, or some grocery stuff, and I see some young woman, trying to sell the body to the truckers. And I don't know, it probably is okay as long as nobody gets harmed. So that's a way to release for those guys, those truck drivers who are away from their life partner or wives or something. And everyone wins. Woman makes some money, he does what his body is screaming for. His wife probably doesn't care, as long as he is bringing money home. Or maybe she cares, but she doesn't have to know. And life goes on for thousands of years. And now you see, actually let me park somewhere so I can walk for longer. You see a desperate guy, desperate for sex, and you see a desperate woman to get a ride. But they have two different interests, so their interests don't match. So he wants sex, she doesn't want sex. He doesn't really want to give a ride to a stranger, but he wants sex. But she wants a ride, so they don't have a matching needs. And now she is in the truck cabin, and she is happy. She's happy she got a ride, and he appeared a nice guy. And let me zoom in for the mountains so you don't get bored. And she's smiling because he gained her confidence, her trust. And she is smiling, and he is making jokes, and he is touching some dirty jokes to test the waters, to test if she is into this type of sexual mindset. And if she responds with a laugh, if she's laughing at those dirty jokes, that's a good signal for the guy, a signal that he loves. He doesn't see this one as a flirting, he doesn't see that one as just a polite response, because she doesn't want to upset this stranger who is trying to help her. So she's trying to be thankful, and her responses, her smiles are the wrong signal for this guy, because he's testing her for her sexual desires, because he is trying to get her into the bunk bed, or the bed he has in the back of his cabin, the driving cabin. So I installed lots of equipment into this big intercontinental or big commercial trucks, and most of them, they have a big bed in the back. So these guys who drive long ways for a couple of days, they can rest at the rest stops, or they have to rest every 8 hours. By law, they are supposed to shut off the engine and take a nap for a couple of hours. And they have to log the number of hours they slept. And now if they get a woman and they have sex, they don't have to record that they slept only 2 hours and they were banging chicks for 3 hours or something like that. You know, those don't go in the books. And so you have this guy horny, testing the woman is trying to be polite. Sometimes, you know, she gets risky because she has a weak mind, or she haven't had a partner for a long time and now she has the opportunity, and life goes on. That's happy people. One happy guy, one happy girl. She gets service, he gets service, she gets a ride, and everyone is happy. But maybe the woman has a partner, maybe the woman is not interested, but she still give this guy a false signal, and she is actually trying to be polite, but she doesn't tell, beside the smile, doesn't say anywhere. This is a politeness response. Is not a response that telling you I'm not interested into your sexual topics. It's just a polite smile because you give me a ride and I am thankful for that. So women don't know how to respond, especially uneducated women, women who have no life experience, women who were never taught by a mom or a grandmom, a grandparent or something like that about life experience, how you deal with these horny people. And this type of response triggers the guy's other emotions, and once a hunter is set on hunting path, he will not